He looked me straight in the eyes, held up a DNA test, and said, "This baby isn't mine." And before I could even breathe, his mother pointed at the door and whispered, "Get out." What they didn't know was that 1 hour later, a doctor would walk into that house and destroy every lie they believed about me. This is Broken Then Powerful, where pain turns into power. I used to believe love could survive anything. Late nights, money problems, stress, exhaustion. I thought if two people truly loved each other, they could fight through anything together. I was wrong, because sometimes the people closest to you don't break your heart all at once. They do it slowly, quietly, until one day you wake up and realize you've been standing alone the entire time. My name is Elena. I was 29 years old, married for 4 years, and 7 months pregnant with our first child. At least that's what I thought would make me the happiest woman alive. But during those last few months of pregnancy, something changed in my husband, Marcus. At first, it was little things. He stopped kissing me goodbye before work, stopped touching my stomach when the baby kicked, stopped smiling when I talked about nursery colors and baby names. Then came the distance, the silence at dinner, the late nights, the cold looks. I kept asking him what was wrong, and every single time, he gave me the same answer: nothing. But it wasn't nothing. You can feel it when someone stops loving you the same way. You feel it in the pauses, in the silence, in the way they stop looking at you like home. One night, I woke up around 2 a.m. and realized Marcus wasn't in bed. I found him downstairs sitting in the dark, just staring at his phone. "You okay?" I asked softly. He looked up too quickly, almost nervous. "Yeah," he muttered. "Couldn't sleep." But when he stood up, I saw him quickly lock his screen, and that tiny moment, that tiny little movement, put fear inside my chest. Still, I trusted him. That was my biggest mistake. A week later, Marcus told me his mother wanted to host a family dinner before the baby arrived. I didn't want to go. His mother, Linda, had never liked me. To her, I wasn't good enough for her son. I came from a normal family. No money, no connections, no status, and Linda never let me forget it. But Marcus insisted. "She just wants peace before the baby comes," he said. Peace, funny word for what happened next. That night, I wore a soft blue dress that barely fit over my stomach. I remember standing in front of the mirror, trying to convince myself everything would be okay. Pregnancy makes you emotional, sensitive. You want safety, love, comfort. Instead, I walked into a nightmare. The second we entered Linda's house, I knew something was wrong. Nobody smiled, nobody hugged me. The entire family was sitting in the living room like they were waiting for a performance. To start, Marcus wouldn't even hold my hand. Then Linda stood up slowly and said, "Sit down, Elena." My stomach tightened. Marcus reached into a folder beside him and pulled out papers. DNA test results. My blood ran cold. "What is this?" I whispered. Marcus didn't answer immediately. He just stared at the paper, then finally said, "I took a prenatal paternity test." I blinked. "A what?" The room felt smaller, hotter. "I needed to know the truth," he said quietly. "Truth." I looked at him like I didn't recognize his face anymore. "You think I cheated on you?" Silence. That silence told me everything. Linda crossed her arms. "The results speak for themselves." Marcus slowly slid the paper toward me. "Probability of paternity 0%. My hands started shaking. "No," I whispered. "That's impossible." But they didn't care. That was the terrifying part. Nobody asked if I was okay. Nobody questioned the results. Nobody defended me. They had already decided who I was. Linda stood up first. "I knew something felt off about this pregnancy," she said coldly. Marcus's sister shook her head in disappointment. "I can't believe you would do this to him." Every word felt like another knife sliding deeper into my chest. And Marcus, he just sat there, watching me drown. "I didn't cheat on you," I said desperately. "I swear on our baby, I didn't." Marcus looked exhausted, broken, But not because he thought he lost me, because he thought I betrayed him. That hurt more than screaming ever could. Then Linda walked toward me and pointed at the front door. "Get out of my house." I felt something inside me crack. Not loudly, quietly, like glass breaking underwater. I looked around the room one last time. At the people I cooked for, helped, loved, people who smiled in my face for years, but turned on me in seconds. All because of one piece of paper. I grabbed my purse slowly. And that's when the doorbell rang. Nobody moved. Linda sighed angrily and opened the door herself. A man in a white medical coat stood outside. "Sorry for the interruption," he said calmly. "I'm looking for Marcus and Elena Carter." The room went silent. Marcus stood up slowly. "That's us." The doctor walked inside holding a folder. And the second I saw the logo on it, my heart stopped. It was from the same clinic. "I came as soon as I discovered the error," the doctor said. Error. That one word changed the air in the room. Marcus frowned. "What error?" The doctor looked uncomfortable. "There was a sample mix-up during processing. The DNA results you received were incorrect. Nobody breathed. Nobody moved." Linda immediately snapped back. "That's impossible." But the doctor calmly opened the folder. "We reran the test this morning using verified samples." He looked directly at Marcus. "You are the biological father." Silence. Heavy silence. The kind that crushes people. Marcus's face lost all color. His sister looked away instantly. And Linda, for the first time in her life, had nothing to say. I should have felt victorious. But I didn't. Because something inside me had changed forever. You see, betrayal doesn't disappear just because someone says sorry. And humiliation leaves scars even after the truth comes out. Marcus stepped toward me slowly. "Elena." His voice cracked. But I took a step back. And that shocked him more than the test results. "You believed them," I whispered. "No. You believed I could destroy our marriage. And you never even asked me first." Tears filled his eyes. I was confused. "No," I said quietly. "You were willing to lose me before giving me the chance to speak." That hit him hard, because it was true. The doctor quietly apologized again and left the house. But the damage stayed behind. Marcus kept trying to talk, trying to explain, trying to fix something that had already shattered. Then Linda finally spoke. "Well, at least everything worked out." I actually laughed, not because it was funny, because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Worked out? They publicly humiliated me, accused me, destroyed my dignity, and now she wanted to pretend it was just a misunderstanding? That was their biggest mistake, because in that moment, I stopped needing their approval. Completely. I looked directly at Marcus. "You know what hurts the most?" He swallowed hard. "What?" "You never trusted me enough to protect me." His eyes filled instantly, and suddenly, I realized something powerful. The test wasn't what broke our marriage. The lack of trust did, because real love doesn't humiliate you publicly. Real love doesn't assume the worst about you. Real love protects you, especially when the world turns against you. I left that house that night alone, pregnant, heartbroken, shaking. But something strange happened during the drive home. I stopped crying, because deep down, I knew I survived the worst thing possible. The moment the person you love looks at you like you're a stranger. And if I could survive that, I could survive anything. Marcus called me for weeks afterward. Flowers, voicemails, apologies, promises. But apologies don't erase trauma, and trust, once shattered, never returns the same way. A few months later, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl named Ava. And when I held her for the first time, I made myself one promise. She would never grow up believing love means begging people to believe your truth. Because the right people won't need proof of your loyalty every second. They'll know your heart. That experience changed me. Not into a bitter woman, into a stronger one. I went back to school, started my own online business, built a life I was proud of, and slowly, the woman they tried to shame became the woman they could no longer ignore. Marcus once told me losing me was the biggest regret of his life, But by then, I had already learned the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the people who doubt you are only preparing you to discover your real power. Tell me honestly, did you trust the husband at the beginning of this story? Or did you feel something was wrong from the start? And if something similar has ever happened in your life, and you want us to turn your story into a video someday, share it in the comments. You are not alone. She stayed silent, but not weak. And sometimes, walking away is the moment your real life finally begins. Subscribe to Broken Then Powerful for more stories like this, because some betrayals don't destroy you. They introduce you to the strongest version of yourself.